Welcome to Borderline Furniture. I'm Mara, and this is why I'm never doing this again. While I could have purchased this beauty for $19.99 at the thrift store, I begged my husband to rescue this thing from the trash on a rainy day. And while this sewing cabinet has some really cool features, taking it from trash to treasure had me convinced there's just some things that I'm never going to do again. This video is part of the semi-quincentennial challenge hosted by the Flippin' Bunch, which includes a bunch of furniture flippin' gals hosting a weekly podcast on Wednesday nights on all things furniture flippin'. Now back to the cabinet, which was already severely water damaged when it was salvaged, and letting it sit in the back porch for about a year didn't help the situation much either, but I thought I could make a decent attempt at a repair and give it a new life. I started by removing the screws from the hinges, and then here's a close-up of the top, which is a total mess. 100 screws later, I was able to remove the main tabletop using Newton's hammer law. Force equals mass times acceleration. That's when it all started. All the glue repairs for the veneer, I mean. I have made many great veneer saves on many furniture pieces, but this one was the most challenging. Once I fixed one spot, another one just appeared out of nowhere. My process for water-damaged veneer is simple. I wet the veneer and allow it to get soggy or flexible. Then I work the glue underneath the veneer. Parchment paper is used to prevent the glue from sticking to the clamped pieces, and then I just allow it to dry. When completely dry, it can be sanded smooth. The physics of why glue does not stick to parchment paper is beyond me, but you will definitely want to use a barrier between the glued surface and the clamped board. Like I was saying, there's no shortage of water-damaged veneer on this project. Okay, at some point, the back piece broke and it wasn't pretty, but it's currently re-glued and clamped, so it seemed like a good time to test the shelf piece. I was really questioning whether I should haul this off to the trash, but surprisingly, the base piece added some stability, so that's encouraging. I glued a piece of scrap wood into the hole where the sewing machine had been, then used Bondo to fill for a seamless finish. As bad as the paint finish was, I still really had to scrape this tabletop down, and carefully because, not surprisingly, the edges also required veneer repair. It had some water damage stains, which I lightened by using Barkeeper's Friend. Wow, you can really see the difference here. Here's another view of the wood after it dried. Not all the stains came out, but I think a little wabi-sabi on this piece is going to be okay. Here's where things started to get not okay. Since I had a whole gallon of Bear Oops paint in blue without primer, I decided to use my go-to primer to prepare the surface. No problems there. And while the paint went on well enough, the durability of this paint was seriously lacking. So, never again. I will not buy Bear paint without primer. The next issue was using Block Poster for my image. For whatever reason, my printer just would not cooperate with the Block Poster PDF download, so I had to go to a specialty print shop due to the lightweight fiber paper that I was using for the print. Those printed images were not cheap either. Then there's the annoying border lines with Block Poster. If you have printer skills, supposedly you can get your printer to remove them, but in my experience, it just didn't work. Also, I had to fill in all the blank border spaces because the images are actually missing there. No problem, right? I've done decoupage, matched colors, and filled in edges. But this paper was a whole different animal. Additionally, this was such tedious work, I felt like I was piecing together a puzzle, and the end product just didn't deliver. Also, Block Poster puts its advertising on the lower right-hand side of any image you print. It's free, so there is that, but I'm sure there's a more user-friendly paid version. Covering those ads was actually the easiest part of this painting process, but I'm gonna say, never again, no fiber paper and no Block Poster for me. Here are a couple of images of my struggle. While the colors seemed to blend well when wet, the dried image was very different. Notice in the close-up that the paper looks wrinkled, but this is the actual quality of the fiber paper and not the application skill. And like I said, it was far easier to cover up the Block Poster logo in the bottom right sides of the last two images than it was to cover up all the white space. Truthfully, this isn't a flip piece. It's beyond borderline. But if you're in it for the creative process and not the profit, then that's where something like this can still shine. Here is the final reveal.
Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire.
Thank you, Flippin' Bunch, for hosting this challenge. As a reminder, please check out the playlist and happy semi-quincentennial, everyone!